My favourite aspect of living in Singapore is the cuisine. There's lots of different type of global food available at every different level from high end to low end, and I really enjoy it, as you can see.
London's a brilliant city to live in. It's got great energy and vibe, and particularly in summer where there's lots of live music and sport events on and festivals, and the city really comes alive. But the best thing about being here is the accessibility of Europe. Anything's just a short plane ride away. We were in Spain last weekend, and often Saturday we're ducking off to the Greek islands for a week.
It's close to schools, public transport, all types of utilities. Mainly it's close to good food.
Going to the best beach in the world, Cronulla of course.
Mountain, ocean and the seafood.
That's a very difficult question. Well, it's convenient. Yes.
My favourite part about where I live in Adelaide is that I live near the beach.
I can find a seat on the bus and in the train when I go to the office.
The favorite part of my living area is this Blackbuck Creek track, which is only 200 meters away from my home. It brings so much fun for myself and my family, especially during the lockdown period.
The food. You get everything from the street stalls to Michelin 3-star restaurants that you can have once in a blue moon.
So I live in Penshurst in Kent, which is about 40 miles from Canary Wharf, on the way to France, as it happens. I'm actually currently in my study. This is where I spent a lot of my time over the last 24 months. It's quite a nice little room, not too big, not too small. I've got a lovely view of our front garden. It's a bit bright today, but it's a lovely day out through the windows.
The French bistro.
It's definitely all the beautiful parks and playgrounds in our area and the gorgeous big gum trees that I get to enjoy.
Favourite part of where I live has got to be the pool. Summer or winter you can swim all year round here in Queensland.
Random street side pop-up parties next to festering piles of trash in the summer.
Well, I'm down in the Shire, down south in Sydney, and I really love being by the water, and I love it that we've got a really great football team, a rugby league team, the Sharks, and they rock!
I hadn't actually been to New York before I moved here, but I hadn't heard a bad thing, so just hoped for the best. But since I've been here, I've absolutely loved it. Moved in the middle of COVID and seen the city completely evolve and sort of turn itself back around since COVID. New York is a city like no other. It's dirty, but it offers anything for anyone. Any time or day or night, there's something happening. Anytime you walk out the door, you'll see something that you've never seen before. And yeah, it's just accepting to anyone and anything. So love it, and hopefully can stay for a while.
I live in Dubai, and my favorite part of living here is that it is such a multicultural place that you get to meet people of so many different backgrounds and cultures. Living here and visiting here, and with our borders opening up, well, I hope to see a lot of my ANZ colleagues here very soon.
So I'm based in Singapore, which is essentially the heart of Asia. And I love the fact that I can jump on a plane on a Friday afternoon and head to the likes of Bali or Bangkok for a weekend trip and make it back in time for work on Monday.
Favourite part of where I live, which is in Perth, is just the wide open spaces. I've got a park across the road, drive 10 minutes one way to the beach and 15 minutes the other way will be in the Darling Ranges for a hike.
So I live in Singapore, and honestly it's everything. The food, the people, the location, you can't beat.
I absolutely love Perth. The weather, first of all, is off the charts. It's amazing. Love the beaches, love the hiking trails, love the family life it offers. It is just, yeah, love it. Love Perth.
Living a minute away from here.
The off-leash dog area next to the creek, where I go every morning with my dog.
I enjoy living in Sydney because it has nice weather, close to the beach, and it has plenty of bush walk tracks around us.
Tuncurry Rock Pool on the mid-north coast of New South Wales is probably my most favourite place ever. I go every year, and it's a really great spot to swim with the kids, be with your family, and you always see dolphins.
I love the sunrise walks along the river and the sunset walks along the beach.
Its location and proximity to a large variety of restaurants, bars,
shops, supermarkets, which means that I'm really no more than 10 minutes away by foot from pretty much everything I need.
Hey team, I'm coming to you from Mollymook Beach, and this is why I love where I live.
Best part about Fitzroy? The coffee.
It's the serenity.
The diversity the city affords and having everything on your doorstep.
The counter natural beauty and food variety.
I love having so many restaurants and bars nearby.
I live in Bandra, and I think the best part of living here is that you're never too far from a good bar or a good restaurant. I think there are about 50 of them walking distance from my house.
Where I live, there's plenty of beaches and mountains, so it's a good change of scenery every now and then.
The footy. Go Pies!
Living minutes away from the beach.
Would be the safety that we have in Singapore.
I love the seashore.
The delicious food found in Taiwan.
The community and the space.
It's definitely the south coast of Adelaide, which is 45 minutes away from the CBD. It's got beautiful beaches at Port Noarlunga, Port Willunga and Aldinga, and it's got the McLaren Vale wine region just next door.
My favourite part of Perth right now is the forecast. Sunny and 20 degrees for the next week.
A travel show host or travel journalist?
A wedding planner.
I'd probably be in private equity.
I have my hands on some investigative work, like Interpol.
So I would say maybe an industry a bit more fun and creative, and not working with numbers.
If I wasn't in banking, I would try to use my degree and be a psychologist.
Best part about where I currently live?
If not banking, either property development or advertising.
I would probably work for a pharmaceutical or medtech company.
What I want, you've got, and it might be hard.
A horticulturalist.
Deep sea fishing instead of banking. Most likely have become an economist, given that I read that at university.
I'd be a pastry chef.
Open a shop in Bali.
I will be a rapper, but not like a singer rapper, Jay-Z, but a gift rapper or a gift wrapping specialist, to make the present even more special, make the recipient, fall for it at first sight.
I would have been a pilot. Either working for a solar developer or doing a lot more of this.
If I wasn't in banking, I would be a sports journalist.
I would open my own bicycle shop.
Probably be in brewing, hopefully microbrewing, because I'm actually more qualified as a brewer than I am a banker.
It's going to sound a bit boring, but I think I'll be a teacher. I can imagine to be quite a fulfilling role to educate and instill the right values for our next generation.
If I wasn't in banking, I'd be a superhero.
Spend a lot more time with my children.
I'd rather be a teacher. The reason being was I had the privilege of teaching kids with reading difficulties at an early age, and I found that extremely rewarding. One, just in terms of, if you put a lot of time and effort into someone, they can quickly grow and develop, and I saw that with a couple of kids I particularly taught.
Really boring one for me, but if I didn't get into banking, I probably would have carried on and become a lawyer.
Winemaker. I guess I'd be playing golf. Be out on the greens every day.
Basketball coach.
Probably my other passion, which is people, counselling. I'm fascinated by human behaviour and by the brain, and it's always been part of my life in some shape or form, speaking to people or informal counselling. So yeah, I would say that would be the one.
If I wasn't a banker, I'd like to be a farmer.
I think I'll be a Starbucks barista. I'm gonna create some art on the coffee.
A pilot.
I want to be an interior designer.
I would do something in nutrition, sustainability, kids' health, or maybe just retire and sit by the beach every day.
I would make cheese in Tasmania.
I'd like to own a health food empire.
If not banking, I would like to be a sports journalist. I find covering major sports events and interview superstar could be a super cool job.
I would like to be a farmer, actually. The other option is something to do with cars, like a racing car driver or a car tester.
I would run a hip-hop dancing studio with my friends.
I'd be a very bad, ordinary suburban accountant.
A scientist to solve problems.
Work in a bookshop.
Okay, so what would I do if I wasn't a banker? I'd be a train driver or a lawn mowing man.
My favourite purchase has been my puppy Alfie. And my worst purchase has been a series of houseplants that I've slowly killed one after the other.
If I wasn't in banking, I'd want to be a classic car mechanic. And these are some photos of some lovely cars that I've owned. But that was the last time I tried to fix my own car.
The best was buying a brand new road bicycle. The worst is not using it enough.
Seeing new recipes on Instagram in the morning that might be pasta related and making them and eating them before 10 o'clock the same day.
Worst habit, more wine, more coffee, and best purchase, monkey bar set to help entertain the kids.
Best purchase would be the new table for the family members to work from home. The worst purchase are a few hotel bookings that got cancelled due to COVID.
Okay, best or worst habit from the past 24 months. I don't think I'm too old to pick up new habits. I've just got the same old bad habits and the same old good habits. The bad habits, probably not appropriate to talk about here.
Just not wanting to go out anymore and procrastinating because I feel like I have too much time on my hands. The best purchase habit. The good part is Hong Kong has a small place, so I can't buy a lot of stuff. So I've stopped buying stuff altogether.
Eating dinner at 5:30 p.m. and ocean swimming. And eating a lot of dessert after dinner because I'm hungry after eating dinner at 5:30 p.m.
Drinking. That's the best and worst purchase and habit that I picked up. Cheers.
Worst habit? Annoying the neighbours at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Spending too much time on my iPhone.
Worst habit would be not getting enough sun.
Alright, best COVID purchase is going to be all the tools and toys you see here. This is just a bit of a sample, there's a lot more tucked away deep in the closets, but tried climbing gear to keep me on attached to the rock, a whole bunch of different axes for different purposes, crampons, ropes, bags, aid climbing gear, rock shoes, shoes to approach the rock, mountaineering boots, ice climbing boots. So it's a bit of a labour of love putting all this together, but certainly keeps you safe and allows you to access all these crazy adventures out there in the mountains.
The best purchase habit that I've picked up over the last 2 years is, I guess, online shopping. It certainly saves a lot of time and money, especially with groceries. But I guess that's also the worst shopping habit because you end up buying so many useless things.
Enjoying better wines, and on the downside, falling into the trap and getting lazy with food delivery.
City bike membership. So in New York, there's bikes parked in sort of lots that you can use to get around the city. It's efficient, probably even as efficient as the subway, but during the sort of warmer months, it's a great way to get around, see the city. There's even e-bikes, so if you need to go over any of the bridges, it can be quite fast. I found since I've had it, I've explored sort of suburbs that I never would before, toured friends around the city, and yeah, even probably pay back the membership in probably 2 or 3 months.
An abundance of activewear and wearing activewear at home while you're not actually being active.
Best purchase in the last 24 months is $50 coffee machine from Aldi. Good, different.
For me, it was a bit embarrassing, but it was very much an impulse buy. I bought a karaoke machine during COVID as things were all shut, without thinking too much about it. And little did I know, the sound system was a bit too powerful. And on my first session, I got a complaint from the neighbor. Haven't turned it on since, unfortunately.
Online shopping.
My best purchase would be my chocolate Labrador, who's now a year old, and the worst is probably cumulatively many COVID tests for me and the family when none of us have had COVID. That's both the cost and the wastage.
During the pandemic, my worst habit was online shopping almost every other day.
Alexa, add best purchase to shopping list.
Best purchase added to your shopping list.
Best habit during COVID was to give up coffee.
Actually, something that I bought, something my husband bought, but I guess I give my no objection to. He bought a few race horses at the beginning of COVID, thinking, COVID will end just like SARS within, a few months by the time summer comes, and it will be a bit of a laugh going to horse racings and watching our horses race. That obviously never happened. So, the horses were just sitting there being trained for no reason because there was no races happening. Yeah, so that was a really bad purchase on his part.
Morning walk and cycling.
Ever since getting a dog about a year ago, I can't stop buying dog toys.
A road bike which I bought earlier this year. It's also the worst purchase given the lack of utilisation it's had over the last 6 months.
Hi team, my name is Don. I enjoy playing golf and this is one of the sports that I've been taken in the past 24 months during the COVID pandemic. Yeah. So it's an outdoor activity, it's very healthy, very relaxing, and a lot of beautiful courses here in Jakarta. So if you are a keen golfer, and you happen to be in Jakarta, please don't forget to bring your golf set and we'll play together. All right? Cheers.
Worst habit? Afternoon naps.
Fred, sit. Fred, roll over.
I purchased a great sleeping mat for overnight hikes, but I was also suckered into buying a silk turban from an Instagram ad, which did not live up to the hype.
My best purchase was AirPods, and my worst habit was excessive chocolate eating.
Best habit I've picked up in the last 12 months is walking to work and after dinner and wearing out 3 pairs of shoes in the process. Worst habit I picked up is my love of this thing.
Worst purchase would be I bought a car in March 2020 and I didn't get to drive it for 6 months because we went into lockdown. Like most of you, I'm sure, lockdown for us meant getting a dog. This is Tuna. He's a 5-year-old ex-racing greyhound that we got a couple of years ago. He's not very good at photos, but he is enjoying retired life a lot.
Buying way too much activewear for my realistic exercise expectations.
Have my morning coffee with my puppies.
I think the best habit would be moving most of my purchases online, shopping, groceries, medicines.
The best purchase was finally succumbing and subscribing to Netflix. I managed to avoid it all my life. I got into it during COVID and watched many a great mini-series. The worst purchase was probably buying a family holiday trip to India. I thought it would all clear up and that we'll be able to go relatively soon. That was 2 years ago and we still haven't made it there.
Best purchase would be a really good ergonomic chair that helps with working from home.
The last 24 months have really taught me to make do with less and buy less. During some of the lockdowns, we had very strict regulations in place in New Zealand and we're not able to do a lot of online shopping unless it was an essential item. So really, the habit was just to do with less and not produce so much waste.
Okay, so I'm now in the backyard and I'm standing in front or behind, depending on which perspective you have, of my best purchase during lockdown, which is my golf net.
A golf practice net.
So hit the balls at the front into the target, and it's a great way of unwinding, taking out frustrations.
It was quite handy during the lockdown. I can keep practicing my swings. Not until one day I shanked the ball into my next door neighbour's backyard. That thing is sitting in a garage, collect dust since then.
Tickets to Hamilton, which I had to buy 3 times because COVID lockdowns kept cancelling the show. Totally worth it though. Worst would be just all the online shopping, which was ridiculous.